Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I had a few minutes before I head into work, and I just wanted to share a little quick video on something I've been thinking about a lot lately, and it's about the word humility. So I grew up with a view of the term humility in a different way that I'm viewing it now. And in my background of growing up, I grew up in a very religious family, and we talked about humility a lot. And I feel like that was a word that was very like a positive word and something to strive for. But the meaning of that word has changed for me over time, and it's something I just feel like I need to talk about because I feel like this is um I think like how I used to view the word humility is probably the most common way, but I feel like over time my view has been changing. So I just wanted to talk about that. So basically, humility, what it used to mean to me, it was like this to be humble, humility. It was like believing and accepting that you are nothing. It's like that when you be it's like this um hmm like I'm lower than everything. Like I'm willing to put myself lower than everything else around me so I can bring everything else up. Um, I'm kind of struggling for some words to describe it, but it's like this. It was very, to me, it felt very shame filled. Like it was like this, like I am nothing, and what I do is of no value, and I'm not special. Um, it's like this, but to, yes, it's just, it was very shame filled to me. So it's like for me, I thought humility looked like believing that I'm of no value, so I can like raise um everyone else around me. Um I hope I feel like I'm really botching how to explain this, but I hope you can get what I mean. I feel like when they talk about a humble person, it's like they're so quiet, they're so timid, they're so um they don't raise themselves up, they don't gather attention. They're very um quiet and just keep to themselves, and they do not um yeah, get attention, um and they don't express themselves in a way that feels higher than anyone else. So basically, like the virtue is to like be quiet, be nothing, don't get attention. Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully you get what I'm trying to say. It's kind of hard for me to explain this, but so that's how I had my view of humility growing up. And it was like that was like a goal. It was like if you to be good in my religion, which I specifically grew up in Christianity, it was like you wanted to be humble, you wanted to show humility, like you were, and especially in comparison to like God in Christianity, it was like God was um so much higher than you, and so you are nothing. But it wasn't like this feeling of like God is everything and you are of God. It's like you are nothing and God is everything. It's like a different feeling. It was a very, I feel like, yes, shame-filled, a very like belittling feeling. I felt very guilty a lot. Like if I were to have any attention, if I were to seek any sort of um praise or express myself in a way, I wanted to. um or like accept an achievement or anything like that. I felt like very shame filled, very like guilty to have any of those things. Um, and lately, I feel like I've been having this whole different feeling of like what humility truly is to me. Anyway, um, and to me, humility, it's not this shaming and it's not this belittling and it's not being quiet and it's not lowering yourself. To me, humility, I think of absolute vulnerability. Like, I think of how each human is completely different and unique, and we all have our own internal little world inside of us. We have our own beliefs, we have our own emotions, we have our own feelings and thoughts and ideas and all these things. And when you have the upbringing of the humility I was already talking about, you don't want to express those ideas because you don't want to gather attention. You don't want to show that maybe you are worthy of something. You don't want to show that you have a great idea, so to say, because it's like, um, it's frowned on. You don't want to have this extra attention. You don't want to have a great idea. You don't want to have these things because it's like you're trying to lay low. And so, this new version of humility, I feel like it's actually the opposite. Like, I feel like true humility is just this absolute vulnerability of showing who you are, like truly who you are at your core. I have found myself like for some reason it feels so wrong and so shameful and um guilty to show who I am. It's scary. It's like scary to show who I am because I'm worried like what's society gonna think? Are they gonna reject me? Are they gonna think I'm crazy? Are they gonna think um that I'm not humble? You know, like all these things, all these fears that can come up when you're thinking about exposing something about yourself that's so intimate and so real and raw and I think of like inside each person is this like softness. Um I don't even know like maybe I don't know the right analogy, but almost like an egg. Like, oh, my alarm's going off. So almost like an egg where it's like we have this hard shell that everyone sees, you know? But we have this ooey gooey inside that's protected from this shell. And this ooey gooey inside is who we truly are. So the outside is the of the shell is what we show to the world, and like that's like personalities that we show, how we act in front of people. Um it's like what we show society to like fit in and be normal and function in this society, and it's like what we show the outside. So like the shell is like how people view us. But if you go past the shell, you get to the yolk and the, you know, ooey gooey stuff. And I feel like that is like our true self. Like, so who we actually are, what we actually love, what is actually meaningful to us. And we're too afraid to share that. And rightfully so, because I found in my own personal self that I'm too afraid to share it because like that is me. That's like the raw, real me. And it's one thing for somebody to reject who you look like on the outside. So if you look like an egg on the outside with your hard shell, and someone's like, "Oh, I don't like that egg. You have a weird color. Why are you a why are you a blue speckled egg. That's weird. Like, I'm a green egg, so you being a blue speckled egg is weird. And like that is painful enough. Like for someone to reject who you are based on your outside appearance is already painful. But I couldn't, it's hard to comprehend the pain that would come if someone were to actually break in past that shell, see who you truly are, and reject it. So, we want to protect ourselves. We don't want anyone to see that internal side because what if someone saw it and they hated it? What if someone saw it and they rejected it? And the thought of that is so excruciatingly painful that we don't want to share it. And so we keep it quiet and we keep it a secret. And it's like we have our own little world inside of us that we don't share because it's scary. We don't know how people are going to react. So when I think of humility, I think of being so brave that, and so it's like with love, because it's like you're being so brave because you know that inside of you, inside that ooey gooey stuff that's scary to show people, is this beautiful, beautiful person that needs to come out. It's like inside each and every one of us is this unique and beautiful gift. And the way to evolve as a society, to become better, to become loving, to stop all of these, you know, like bad things going around the world that we are trying to fix. It takes being vulnerable because like each single human holds the key, and the only way that each of us can use our keys is to actually expose ourselves. Like we have to dissolve this hard shell on the outside so that we can actually, people can actually see and use and not use is the wrong word, I think, but just see and who you truly are, and like you would use your gift to share with the world. So I think humility is having that understanding of you are greater than you think you are. You are more unique than you think you are. You are so powerful and you have so much potential and goodness inside of you. And you, just like each and every one of us, holds the key to this world. And you have to be, so humility would be being, recognizing that, and then being brave enough to actually expose the most intimate, the most excruciatingly painful and scary part that nobody wants to show. It's like this ultimate form of vulnerability. And I feel like unless we can start to do that, we're not going to get anywhere. I feel like we're in this process, in this world of evolving, with the whole world at large. Like we're evolving at a rate that's uncomprehendable. Even just technology wise, you look at our earth and how much it's evolved technology over the last even 100 years. It's insane. But now we're coming to this like this critical point where, okay, we have this knowledge, we have this technology. What are we going to do with it? Are we going to go through the route of destruction, or are we going to go through the route of salvation? And what I mean by salvation, I mean like this growth of humanity. It's like we grow through like love and appreciation and understanding of each other. We each um accept each other's uniqueness, and then we all can use our gift all collectively. Like, if you think of 8 billion people on this world and they all have a special gift to better society, they can all use that. And it's like evolving our earth versus the destruction. So like we can take this technology and we can stay in our, we can protect all of the inside, all of that goodness that we have inside of us by just creating this hard shell that's indestructible, um, out of fear of what people will think. And what that will look like then when we're in this protective mode, if you think of like we're in this little shell and we're protecting ourselves, and it's like, in order to do that, you have to kind of shut off emotionally. You have to become, um, you have to become quiet. You have to become a little harsh because, like, if you're too welcoming, if you're too open, if you're too loving, then you're exposing some of that stuff. If you have a soft shell, it's easier to break. And so it's easier for people to see who you are. Versus if you create a very hard shell, that's harder to break. People, it's harder to see who you really are. So that's where the harshness can come in, where we can focus on external things, not internal things. We can focus on money and success. Um, we don't share with our neighbors. We don't talk to our neighbors. We don't care who our neighbors are, because the less people who really know you, the better. Because the more you're open, like I said, the more you're exposed. So you just over time close off. Like, and I feel like we're at this breaking point where we could go either way. We can all harden and close off and slowly die. Or we can all soften and expose who we really are and thrive. But it's scary. It's very scary to soften. It's very scary to open up. And to me, that is what humility is all about. Humility is about the braveness to face who you really are and to share that with the world, to soften, to allow people to come into your life, to be more vulnerable, to share your stories, to share your ideas, even if you are terrified, even if you're like, someone's going to totally judge me on this, even if like they think you're completely weird, they think you're way out there, you don't care, because you know that deep down, as much as we want to reject and say that's weird, deep down, we all have a weird side. We all have this part of us that's unique. And it's weird because it's unique. And they have to be unique, because the only way we can evolve as a society is to have all the pieces. You think of like a puzzle, and it's like, in order to complete the puzzle, you have billions of unique individual shapes and pieces, but you need all of them in order to complete the picture. Or I think of like a body and body parts, like your eyelash compared to an organ is really weird, like the organ, like your liver could look at your eyelash and say like, what are you good for? Who are you? You're weird. And the eyelash could look at the organ and say the same thing. Um, but the reality is like you need both. Your eyelashes protect your eyes. Without them, you would be getting stuff in your eyes and it can damage them and you can harm your eyesight and even go blind. And without your liver, you can't process. You can't detox your blood that's feeding the rest of your body. And so, like, every single cell in your body is needed. Every single cell and organ and eyelash and everything, they all have its own purpose. They all do something very specific. And without one, it's harming the body. Like if every time you're losing something in your body, it's not functioning the way it needs to. And so I think of that. I don't know if that's a great example or not, but that's just what came to my mind of when you think of like every unique individual. Yeah, you're gonna be a little weird. You have to be weird. Like, that's the whole point. We're not supposed to be the same. We're not supposed to be a bunch of robots. And unfortunately, out of fear, our society is, I feel like, shifting a little bit towards robots. Um, because you want to go in protective mode. You want to um harden and protect yourself. And honestly, I think that just comes from thousands of years of trauma. I mean, look at how much humans have evolved over time and all the things we've gone through from the beginnings of, we're an animal. I mean, we couldn't even protect ourselves from animals, or going through um ice ages and freezing, and like having to like work to survive, and then going through all kinds of different wars and like community battles and just like different things. It's like at large, humanity at large, we've gone through a lot of trauma. And I don't feel like we've really processed that. We haven't really dealt with that. And so we're very protective of ourselves. We don't want to feel that pain. We don't want to go through that. And so, yes, so we protect it. But the only way to get past it, the only way to actually heal, is to go inside, discover who you truly are, and then being brave enough to share that with the world. Every and I feel like, and in my own journey, there's so many things recently that I'm just like, I've been doing without talking about it. And I feel like I can't talk about it. But then every single time I do, it's amazing. Like, and yeah, there's gonna be someone who thinks what I'm doing or what I think is weird. That's just how it goes. It's just reality. We're all different. But there's been so many times I've shared the most embarrassing, intimate, personal sides of myself. These just vulnerable things you never want to say, or you never want to do, or you never want to admit. But I'm finding as I do, not only is it helping me to open up and heal and grow, it's inspiring and helping others to do the same. So to me, that is true humility. It's recognizing that we are more. Whatever religion you believe in or beliefs you have, a spirituality, I feel like there's something more. There's this energy of life, this life force, spirit, universe, God, whatever you want to say. And working through humility isn't recognizing we are nothing, it's recognizing we are that spark of life. We are filled with that spark of life. And all of us are. There is no special person that has this spark of life and the others don't. We all come from the same source. We all came from the same thing. And we all have a special purpose, something special to accomplish. And we will never find that. We will never know that unless we open up to it. And we are not lower than. We are yes, full of this life. So, this life force, energy, whatever you want to call it. So, the only way to do that is, like I said, just vulnerability. Humility is the ultimate form of vulnerability. So yeah, me sharing this video is me expressing my own vulnerability. And that's why I want to do this YouTube channel. Honestly, half of it is just for me to just face it myself. I'm terrified of the camera. I'm terrified what people think. But here I am. I'm out here and I'm doing it because I feel like that's the only way we can evolve. And so I hope this video brings just one person inspiration to do the same. You are a beautiful, beautiful person, and you have so, so, so much to give to this world. And my hope for you is that this video will just inspire you to just try it. Just pick one thing that you feel like is so you, is so intimate, is so scary, and share that with one person and watch the magic that can happen from that. I feel like the more we open, the more we soften, and the more we're constantly giving out and sharing in this world, the more goodness that's going to come forth through it. So, all right, well, I got to get going to work, but thank you so much, and I hope you guys have an amazing, wonderful day.